Spurgeon here with RevZilla, and today we're going to take a look at the Spidi X-Nashville Boots available at RevZilla.com. So Spidi is a European manufacturer that's pushed hard into the American market over the past few years, and really what we've seen in addition to their apparel is they've now incorporated a line of their own motorcycle boots, and the X-Nashville Boots is going to be a lifestyle piece. It's going to sit at the top of their food chain, coming in around the $270 price point. Now, when I first pulled these out of the box, what struck me was the hand to the leather. Very soft, very supple. The boots feel like they've been, worn in for 20 years, just the way that they have that great soft hand to them. And that's because this is going to be done in a calf leather. So it's actually baby cows make up the main construction for this boot, and it's just an amazing feel to this. Now, there's two different colors available. There is the black and the brown. The black has a little bit more of a glossy look to it, where the brown leather definitely has more of that distressed, kind of broken in feel. And when we talk about sizing for this, you're going to want to pay attention because the size is a bit off from what we've seen from their size chart. Now, we're going to say they fit about a full size to a size and a half large. What do I mean by that? I'm normally a 12 and a half across the board in my motorcycle boots. Now, what I ended up doing was I took my 12 and a half, I sized down to an 11 and a half, that converted to a 46, and that's going to fit me spot on from a length standpoint. So definitely take whatever you are and size down at least one full size. Where some of you might run into problems is that this boot fits a bit on the narrow side. Even when I had my correct size, I had a hard time getting the boot on and off because of how narrow it was in the footbed. So if you know that you traditionally have a wider foot and you love the way these look, sorry, they're probably not going to work for you. Personally, I love the way they look, and they were just too narrow along the side of the foot. And I have a little, I'm not quite an E, I'm a little bit wider, maybe like a large D width if I would say anything out there. So one of the things to note, once you work through sizing, sizes will range from a 40 to a 47 European. And again, just make sure you're using Spidi's size chart with that, and then just use that conversion where you're sizing one down. One of the things for Spidi is that these are going to sit at the top of the food chain. This is that lifestyle piece, and this is not going to be a waterproof boot, which I actually like. A lot of the boots that we're seeing done in this style have proprietary waterproof liners, which are great in the winter months, but then when you go to wear the boot in the summer months, your feet tend to overheat or sweat because they're not going to be as breathable as what you get from a non-waterproof boot. So this is going to be an oiled boot, so it is going to be water resistant, but it is not going to be a waterproof boot. The other thing you'll note is it does have that zip entry point. Now this is a make it or break it. Personally, I am not a fan of the zipper entry. I had a grandfather that laced up his boots every single day, and personally, I don't like that. But I know that this is the trend right now. This is the style, and there's so many riders out there that look at this as a convenience factor for getting the boot on and off. So if you are someone that likes the zip up to the side of the boot, this is going to be one for you to consider. Now the main construction, you're looking at a full CE rated boot. And like I said, the leather is done in a calf leather, very soft, very supple. The sole is a combination stitch sole, and you can see from the top the stitching is going to work very nicely on the top. It's a combination of stitch sole and glued sole. And the only nitpick I have from an aesthetic point of view is when you're looking at this boot, it looks absolutely fantastic until you get up close and you can see just where a little bit of the glue globs kind of just like did not get cleaned up particularly well. So from a standpoint of a nitpick, that's probably the only thing that I could really see with this boot that kind of detracted me. But again, from 2-3 feet away, you're not even going to notice that. It's only when you get up really close to the boot. Now it is going to be a lug sole to the bottom, and it does have about an inch of rise to the heel. So if you are looking for a little bit of height out of your boot, you will get that here. And from a comfort standpoint, it's about a 3 out of 10 on the rigidity scale. So this is a boot that is going to give you that sea level protection, but is still going to be comfortable enough for you to walk around on. Now they did go with a symmetrical design for the shift pad. Personally, I kind of like it when they only do the shift pad on the left boot. Just keep it asymmetrical, and you really only need the shift pad on the left boot. But again, they went with more of a symmetrical design with this, so you get the shift pad on both sides, dual stitching throughout the boot, and you do have that reinforcement at the toe, and you also have reinforcement at the heel. Now when we're talking about ankle protection, you do have an ankle cup on the lateral side that is not going to be mimicked on the inside, on the medial side. But what I also really like about this is there's very minimal branding here. The only thing you're going to see that gives it away is just that little X right there. It doesn't say Spidi anywhere on the boot, just a little X, and again, that's part of the X-Nashville line. Oiled laces, so if you want to go ahead and unlace the boot in addition to using that zipper, you can. Now personally, when I was putting these on and off, I wasn't able to get the boot on with the laces done and just using the zipper. And again, that's because of how narrow it was. So if you do have that wider foot, you might find yourself having to unlace and unzip to be able to get the boot on and off. Now it is going to be a taller mid-height boot to this, not a full rise, but think of it as a jump style boot. And when you take a look at the inside of this, the inside is going to be done in a 0.8 millimeter leather as well. So very soft, very supple on the inside as well as the out. And the exterior on this is going to be a 1.4 mil leather. And the only other thing you'll note is what adds to that comfort is the accordion stretch in the back just helps with that extra bit of flex zone that they incorporated above that heel cap. Because again, that reinforcement at the heel is a bit beefy, but then you have that extra bit of range of motion there at the very back of the boot. So for those of you out there looking for a lifestyle boot, personally, I wish these fit me better. I wish my feet were slightly narrower because the hand to this is absolutely fantastic and it just looks great straight out of the box. It looks like you're literally getting your grandfather's boots just gifted down to you when you open the box with the way that these look from an aesthetic point of view. Now there's a lot of riders out there utilizing Spidi gear, and if you want to hear more about what those riders have to say, click the info button on your desktop or mobile device, which will allow you to read other rider reviews from folks that are already out there putting the X-Nashvilles through their paces. If you have more questions for one of our gear geeks as to which pair of boots is right for you and your ride, give them a shout, 877-792-9455, or simply shoot us an email, cs@RevZilla.com. Thank you for joining us for this look at the Spidi X-Nashville Boots. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.